Sounds and Sights TV.
Yeah!
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Sounds and Sights show with your host, Nick Saenz. Today is a very special day because this is the first time that I've actually gotten to do this the way that I wanted to, which is in 4K, got all my stuff together. Awesome. But anyway, so basically, again, to reiterate what the show is I am a artist who makes music every single day. And every single day, I write down the things that I've learned, the things that I have to do as an artist for that day, along with any little song bits, any new Ableton chains that I've come up with, and just any cool things that I might have stumbled upon along the way. So with that said, let's get into it. So for today, so every day I kind of start off with a little bit of a mantra. And this mantra doesn't come out of nowhere. I actually write 3 pages every morning just to kind of get the creative juices flowing. Has nothing to do with music necessarily, but it helps me stay balanced mentally, which definitely helps with kind of putting your best foot forward in terms of bringing your creativity to the table for music. So my mantra for today was, I recognize habits that aren't helping me. I understand why they are there and the role they've played in my story, and I let them go. This was specifically kind of related to music. It was actually related to alcohol. I generally like to enjoy a glass of wine with dinner. And it's something that I've done for a while. I like wine. I like eating food. And often when I eat dinner with other people, we might have a little bit more wine. But in my everyday life, I work a 9-to-5 job, and after work is my main time to kind of do my musical creative stuff. And for some reason, and it's not for some reason, I guess it's to be expected, but after a glass of wine, I noticed that I get the threshold to be like, fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow, is much lower. And I'll just end up going on Reddit or, doing whatever, but I wouldn't end up doing as much music stuff as I wanted. And I just kind of noticed that this was a recurring trend, and it bothered me a bit. There's no problem with alcohol necessarily. Like I really love drinking wine. I love drinking socially. Like it's a fantastic thing. But it was getting to a place where if I have a glass of wine with dinner or 2 for 4 or 5 nights out of the week, then 4 or 5 nights of the week I'm not able to express myself with my music as much as I expect or as much as I could and should and want to. So it became a thing of this is a thing that I've done, and I'm recognizing that it's basically coming in between me and what I love. And that thing is music. So at the end of the day, last night, actually, I wrote a little kind of blurb about it. But basically I decided that at least for the, for the immediate future, I'm just not going to have alcohol with dinner, or probably at all, though I don't want to say at all quite yet, but, at least for the time being, I just want to see what it's like, and here I am now. I honestly probably would have been a little bit more tired, even just doing the show. It's 9:15. I've been working all day. So, it's something that I recognized was no longer serving me. And I said, thank you. Thank you for your service. I've had a lot of great nights with drinking a nice glass of wine, swirling that shit around, getting all the aerating it. It's a beautiful hobby, but I think for right now, I'm taking a little break. But anyway, so that was my mantra for today. So what else do we got? Every day, a state of mental well-being is super fucking important. If you've done this long enough, you know that, you can't produce your best music. You can't feel happy doing your hobby or your profession or anything if you're not in a good place baseline. It's like, So basically what I do is I know that I'm in this for the long haul. And as an artist that's watching this, you should know that you're in this for the long haul as well. None of this shit comes easy. None of this shit comes overnight. There's going to be a whole lot of frustration. There's going to be a whole lot of fucking trial and tribulation that comes just from being an artist itself. So to be able to deal with that, you really need to be able to focus on bringing that base kind of, satisfaction, happiness, just kind of contentness with your state of mind and the state of the world around you up. Because you can't build on a foundation that's shaky. You can for a while, but it inevitably ends up crashing down. So I write this journal. It's like therapy to me. I do meditation sessions. You don't have to do meditation sessions, but I would be lying if I said that it didn't help a little bit. Personally, I just have some pretty major anxiety. So, it just helps me kind of be a little bit more of an observer of my feelings and recognize that, hey, some shit's happening, without being in it. Cause in it's a hard place to be, and I want to read tonight. That's just a little goal that I set for myself. So with that whole preamble of stuff that had nothing to do with music, but more just about humanity, which is super important because as artists, we are vulnerable humans, and being in touch with our humanity makes us better people, makes us happier, and makes us more connected to our creativity, I believe, at the end of the day. So anyway, so here we are. So what were the things that I actually did today as an artist? Basically, planning is hard. Planning is really hard. But it helps kind of relieve the stress of like, that there's a million things that you have to do as an artist and you're not sure which one to do. Whoa. Making a plan just makes it easier. It's all those same thoughts and stuff, but instead of them whizzing around in your head and stressing you the fuck out, they're on paper. They're there. You thought about them. You don't need to keep them up here anymore. They're just there. You can look at them. You can choose when to do them. And for me, it makes it a little bit more of a kind of calm and rewarding experience. Because like if the shit's all up here, even when I get something done, I really don't feel like anything was actually done. I can't see, there's nothing, there's no box to check. There's no thing that kind of makes it real as like a specific moment of progress. So, I think this helps with that a lot. But basically I was going day to day, and now because I was going from nothing, again, all in my head, all the things I wanted to do. So I made the step forward to just have it be day by day. So every single day I do this, I write down what I want to do. So now I think I'm at the point where I want to make it kind of week by week, where I plan what I do a week in advance. Cause I have a lot of stuff going on, and I think that I'm at that level now where I have enough stuff where I can actually plan it out week to week. If I release a song one week, I'm going to need to follow it up with content the next. I'm going to need to do, if I have a song that I want to release in a month, I know that I have to get it mastered. I have to get it mixed. I have to, there's enough time where I can kind of map everything out. So, that's what this is. Make tickets for the things I want to do today, which is basically just like actually plan out what I want to do. So one more thing that I thought was pretty interesting was, I had a little to do today to add a shortcut for Pro Q3 plugin to my little setup, but specifically only have it be 6 decibels. Yeah, that you can manipulate either way, because by default, and I'll show you here. Let me see. How do I do this here? All right. So if I go to a default Pro Q, yeah. All right. So open up Pro Q. You know what? I might even have. Oh no, I didn't add it. Okay. Yeah. So if I open up a default Pro Q, which is kind of like almost, aside from your stock plugin, is just about as standard as an EQ as you can get. So by default, you have it at 12 dB. So if I go like this, I'm literally adding almost, you can see I'm adding 10 dB there. And for me personally, I have an issue with overmixing. Probably because by default, you're using your eyeballs and you're like, well, I should definitely look, if you accidentally go like that, it's 30 now. So, I'm making these massive EQ moves. And after watching a lot of YouTube videos with pro mixers, pro mastering engineers, yes, there are cases to, make kind of these extreme EQ moves. But that I believe like that should really be, like if you know specifically that that's the thing that you want to do, like that, it shouldn't be the default. For me, it was the default because it is the default. When I open it up and I look at it, I'm like, oh, it needs some 10K. I'm going to, okay, well now I have 12 decibels of 10K, which is usually not what I need for what I'm doing. So what I did was I went here and put it to 6. And then what I did was I created a group here so that I can save it. I can do like Pro Q3, 6 dB default. So now anytime I open this up, if I'm going like this, I'm doing kind of these smaller moves, which I think overall will make my mixes sound a little more balanced. This is for me personally. Obviously, if you're doing something with like, native or not native, but like analog instruments, like, yeah, there might be cases where you need to make these massive EQ moves. Like if there's no high end at all and you gotta crank it. And there's definitely going to be cases for that. But for me, I work with kind of the modern sound where a lot of the samples that I use have already been pretty heavily processed. And the synth noises that I make already have a lot of energy kind of everywhere in the spectrum. So a little bit more minimal moves here are kind of what I want. So this is a good idea. If you're kind of thinking of, hey, I'm afraid that I might be overmixing my sounds. Start with having an EQ and just say, hey, I'm only just going to use the one EQ, use the other effects to your heart's desire, saturation, maybe a compressor, whatever. But, just as a starting point, start small, because, these little moves, they add up over time. So, if you add a little bit of a 2K dip here, cause hey, it sounds a little harsh. Just that maybe compounded over the course of the mix might be all that you need, in which case, congratulations. You now have a pretty natural sound that isn't totally fucked versus if I had done something like this where I'm like, a few of these and all of a sudden the sound starts to not sound so good, so natural. So anyway, that was something that I thought was cool. So let's get back to the view here. So that's something I thought was pretty interesting. And what I also wanted to do was to add a little, add this to my Stream Deck. So I don't know if you can see this here, but I have a Stream Deck down here that has all kind of like my favorite plugins, my favorite settings. So that's going to be one that I can just recall. So I can just do boop, press a button, and then boom, default Pro Q opens up. So what else did I do? Today, one thing that I really wanted to do with music, in general, is I want it to be attached to me and my story, because that's what my music is. It's the way that I felt at a given point in time. It's a vibe, it's a feeling, it's a story. So, and it's all attached to me and to how I feel. I'm the songwriter, I'm the producer. This is just how I do music. So I was thinking about, how can the content that I put out be an extension of that? Because ultimately, like any of these things that you do, whether it's content or album arts or the music itself, it's all an extension of your expression and your art. So, content, yes, it's practically good for getting your music in front of people, sure. But when you take an artist's kind of point of view towards it, it can be just as powerful as a medium of expression as the music itself. It can add so many layers of depth, like a music video, you know? Sure, it's something pretty to look at for the person who might be taking a look at it, but it can add another layer of depth to the song that you didn't know was there, because it adds another onion layer of detail to the story. So that's what I wanted to do. So my next EP is about basically my experience with dropping out of school, my feelings and my story around that, and my kind of resurgence to, feeling like, I'm not a fucking loser anymore. So basically what I decided to do was create a bunch of interview questions around my honest experience of dropping out of school and what happened and why it happened, and what I did to recover from that. And so I'm hoping that it can kind of be something, by doing this, by kind of exposing a part of your soul, part of my soul, that it can add that extra layer of depth to the music, and in a way that's probably cathartic for me, and will hopefully help whoever's listening to my music be that much more bonded to me and my story and my music, which is kind of the goal, I think. Obviously I want to make shit that just sounds really cool, but at the end of the day, like, this is my story, this is my life, this is my art, and I want to feel connected to you, to anybody who's listening to it, and I want them to feel connected. So that, again, that's just kind of my why of music. It's just the way that I know how to express myself best. So not necessarily true for everyone, but if you're thinking about doing content for a song, really ask yourself, what is this song about? What is the vibe of this song? And just maybe structure some questions. Have your mom, write out some questions, have your mom ask you, and just kind of try it out. Or if you don't feel super comfortable, talking to other people, then, hell, look what I'm doing right now. There's nobody else here but you, the viewer. So, you can just be by yourself with the camera and just talk your shit. So it's a beautiful world that we live in today. Take advantage of it. What else we got? Oh yeah. So this is a little bit meta, but I am working on this Sounds and Sights website, and TikTok and everything. So one of the things that I think is super, super helpful, and one of the things that's honestly helped me grow on my TikTok page, is reaching out to other people who are doing similar shit. So I saw this one dude, what's his name? Here, I'll go. What is it? Oh, I don't think I have the link to his thing. Shoot. But basically it's this dude named Will, I can't remember his last name, but it's like Greasy Will, but he's a human, he has a last name, and he does kind of this like more aggressive version of what I do, which is talking about music, about falsehoods in the music industry. He kind of will go and stitch other people's videos who are, if they're talking some shit that maybe isn't the most, not genuine, but it isn't the most right, or like isn't presented in a way that is like authentic. He'll kind of call people out. So I, as somebody that wants to present anybody who's watching this with not the true facts, but I want to present it in a way that's authentic, and present it in a way that you can learn from it for real, and not just like this clickbaity bullshit where, hey, look at my website, or, take my lessons. Like, that's not why I do this. Like, that's not why I'm, getting in front of the computer every day and making music. Like, this is who I am. This is what I do. I just want to share it because I just fucking love this more than anything else in the world. This makes me so happy. It also is the biggest driver of all my pains, but it's because I love it that I do it. But anyway, so I wanted to ask him about like, hey, can you roast my videos or fact check them so that if anything is fucked up, then one, I can learn myself because I'm selfishly, I want to get better at what I do. But two, it'd be kind of a cool content. It'd be a cool collaboration. And like, you know, it's almost like, you know, when you see a celebrity or like you see somebody else through their videos and you bond with them a little bit, you're like, you know what? I feel like I would be this person's friend if we were able to like get to know each other a bit more. And, you know, who knows? But, you know, I want to connect with other people who are doing the same thing that I am, which is basically just talking shit about music and kind of the ins and outs of making music and being involved in this world that we're involved in. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little video and I'm just going to be like, hey, you know, what up, Greasy Will? Like, just want to say I'm a fan and, you know, it's someone that makes informational videos about music. Like, I'd love for you to fact check me, like roast my shit. Like, I want to know, you know, what things that I say make sense, what things could maybe be tweaked a little bit. You know, thank you so much for giving me the info that I've gotten from you so far. Like, you know, I hope that, you know, maybe we could link up at some point, or I don't even know, something like that. But anyway, so, you know, it's just, it's important to connect with people, you know, cause I mean, that's what I want. That's what I want so bad. Like, that's what I got with doing the software engineering job, is that I was able to connect with people, but, you know, I want to connect with people that do music, not just software engineering. So anyway, I did not get to do that yet, but I have it scheduled for after this. So, oh my God, I have so much stuff. I go hard with this music shit. So an idea that sounds fun or exciting that I could try to do today. So there's a song by Slipknot called Tattered and Torn, which is just excruciatingly fucking gnarly. And I loved the cadence. It's like this call and response where he goes like, tattered and torn, da 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 da, tattered and torn, la 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 la. And he's just going just fucking off the rails. But I loved the pattern, the, you know, da 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 da. So I basically tried to do it myself. So it starts off with this, I kind of recreated the little gnarly little thing. Oh, I don't have my vocals on here. I was also messing around with some drum distortion. Yeah, that's I wanted to make it sound fucking gnarly too. So you know what? I can check that off actually, because I did put in work on that today. What else? So just some random thoughts. I don't think I need to go over this, but basically I was just kind of thinking through, you know, when I was mentioning earlier about, do you organize your stuff day by day? Do you do it week by week? It's kind of hard. You just got to try it and figure it out. There's a lot of things about music that you just can't figure out. You just got to do it and see what feels right and iterate from there. You know, this thing that we do, and it honestly applies to almost anything, but it should be a do first attitude, because you learn so much more by just doing than learning. Like somebody told me that had started a bunch of businesses, like the amount of learning that he had from just starting a business, failing, you know, planning, like, hey, you know, this is my first go of it. I'm probably going to fuck it up. It's probably going to fail. But if you spend a year doing that, you would learn so much. Like he said that he learned more doing that than 2 years of doing an MBA of business school. So, you know, really, whether that's the case universally, I don't know. But one thing I do know is time and time again, I learn way more, way faster in the right stuff by just doing, seeing what works, seeing what feels good, and following that path versus, mapping everything out. And then, because then it's just your brain, you have a gut instinct about what you like, what you don't like, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Trust it. When you do things, you feel things, and you can follow those feelings versus if you just think it all out, you might, like for this daily show, initially I had planned it all out. I'm going to do this day. I'm going to do this theme this day. And you know what? I only liked doing maybe one or two of those things. So if I had just started with that and just maybe tried a bunch of different ideas and just followed what felt good, I would have avoided the, fucking week that I spent planning all that shit. So do first, then adjust. What else? Oh yeah, this is just some more meta stuff about the show. Oh yeah, EQ. I think I kind of touched on that earlier, but basically, I even included a little downloadable guy here, which actually ends up looking something like this. Hold on, let me show you. There we go. So this should be in my magic little folder here. EQ default. So check this out. So this is the default that I have for Pro Q. So I saved it as a group because you can't save, or maybe you could save it like this actually. Oh, that might actually be, maybe I can. Save as. Oh, default. Well, I guess the more you know. I'll say Nick default. Default Nick. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Well, either way, this is going to be easier to export. So, and then also that way I can access it with my Stream Deck. So this is still what I want. But basically, so take a look. So these are kind of like the most common EQ moves that I make, honestly. So there's just adding a little bit of high end. There's a kind of like harshness dip here. If something is sounding a little too grating on my ears, I'll usually like reduce 2K. Something is sounding a little like kind of bohemy and muddy, I'll just kind of do this somewhere around here. Do a little, I mean, this is barely anything. This is 2 dB with a 2Q. So pretty narrow dip. And then if I want to just add a little bit more low end thump, I'll just, somewhere around here, I'll just kind of, have a little high end shelf. And then this is more for just like, if there's nothing down there that's like cool or creative and it, then I just get rid of it. Because it's probably going to end up clogging up some shit later. So again, I don't have these on by default at all. So I have to specifically be like, kind of try, or maybe, you can kind of trial and error, be like, what does that sound like? 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 But usually, like, I don't want to have any of these on by default. I want to be choosing like, hey, this is not adding any value to the mix, this low end, and I want to get rid of it. So it's a kind of more of a conscious choice than just loading up some preset. Presets are good, but I want to, when I'm making EQ moves, like I want to be very specific about it because again, I have a tendency to overmix. So let's get back to the Daily Show. So yeah. Oh, and then this is honestly just a fucking sick song that I was listening to that I'll probably want to emulate in some way. I think that's going to be a style that I fuck around with a little bit. So just want to show you all that. Oh, and last but not least, if you were ever looking for like what's called a gobo, basically just like a portable acoustic treatment panel. For instance, if you can't hang anything on your wall for one reason, if it's like brick or something, or if you just need to, hey, maybe you're recording your podcast in one room and then you need the same acoustic treatment in your basement where you're recording your vocals. This thing is pretty nifty. It's kind of expensive. It's like $250, but it's a big old fucking thing. I'll show you a picture. Check it out. So look at this thing. Oh, I wish they had, you know what? In Quad Studios, I was actually looking at doing like a listening party. So I was looking at pictures of Quad, and they had pictures of this one chick recording a violin with these things. Oh, wait, where is it? Maybe rooms? No. Clients? No, I think it was social. Here we go. Yeah, take a look at this. This is fucking sick. So somebody had their little recording set up here. Let me show you the violin. There we go. So look at this. These things are massive. But I've seen these used, like even with bigger artists with their home recording setups. If they have like a not super treated space, you just bring a few of these and boom, like you have a whole, these things literally look like they're the width of her whole fucking body. Like these things are probably, these like 8 to 12 inches thick. Like that's definitely going to be pretty effective in terms of, noise treatment. So anyway, so that's pretty much it. I think that's it for today's show. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So basically, I think every other day I'm going to do this. I'm just going to talk some shit about what I've been up to music-wise, and hopefully it can be helpful. Obviously, I'll provide the link to this so that you can kind of see what I've been up to and what things are the things that I'm thinking about as an artist, and also if there's anything available for download, like this ProQ Ableton group, I'll put that up as well. So thank you very much for joining. This has been it's been an awesome long episode. Usually I do like 10 minutes, but you know what? Fuck it. We're going hard. So thank you so much for joining. And as always, rock on.